Hey y'all, this is my nephew Kyle.
This is my Aunt Christy.
So we're stuck in COVID isolation
Yep, going stir crazy.
and we've been watching some movies.
Yeah, we both really love movies. We both have very different tastes, and we thought that might be put to use well in doing some movie reviews for you fine people to let you know what is worth watching and what maybe isn't, and what we disagree on, what we agree on.
Right, and so we're both big movie fans, and what we've been doing is we've been taking turns picking movies and showing each other some of our favorite movies. Um, and we have really different tastes.
Yeah, we do, and it's been fun, and I feel like we both too have a good grasp of cinema and production. We've both been in a couple movies ourselves and have been around professional productions and things. So I think we can approach movies from not only a personal preference standpoint, but also a general knowledge of the movie making process and everything that goes into it. So, you know, it's, and it's great to have a good conversation, even on opposite sides of the spectrum on a movie, not get too precious about it. So that's what we're going to do.
So we both completely agree about that we're willing to watch different things and watch things that we don't like or might not watch. So tonight, Kyle's agreed to watch my favorite movie.
Is it? I didn't even know that.
Yep, it's my favorite movie.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch Casablanca, which I'm pretty sure. Obviously, I know the big things about it. I know, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I've heard the, all the praise around it, and I'm pretty sure that I slept through a showing of it in high school by a substitute teacher. So
It's kind of a comedy routine here too. No, it's not true. It's true. That
No.
line's not in Casablanca.
It's not.
No.
Oh, jeez.
No, it's a different movie.
All right. Well, I have no idea what is that from.
Gone with the Wind, which is in color. This one's
We're
good.
watching Gone with the Wind.
No, we're watching Casablanca. So we're going to introduce that. We'll take a break. We'll come back.
Yeah.
And after the movie's over and talk about how it went, what we thought.
Enjoy the review.
Okay, see you in a minute.
With the coming of the Second World War, many eyes in imprisoned Europe turned hopefully or desperately toward the freedom of the Americas. Lisbon became the great embarkation point, but not everybody could get to Lisbon directly, and so a tortuous, roundabout refugee trail sprang up. Paris to Marseille, across the Mediterranean to Oran, then by train or auto or foot across the rim of Africa to Casablanca in French Morocco. Here, the fortunate ones, through money or influence or luck, might obtain exit visas and scurry to Lisbon, and from Lisbon to the New World. But the others wait in Casablanca, and wait, and wait, and wait.
All right.
Yeah,
We watched it.
what's Casablanca?
Nobody said, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Nobody said that.
Well,
What'd you think? How'd you like it?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. And it's interesting watching because we've watched a couple other classic films, and it's so fascinating to see how much of movies that I love like how many scenes there are that are callbacks to these old classic movies, and it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I liked it a lot, and sometimes I have trouble, sometimes I think, okay, so it's going to be in black and white, and it's going to lose something, but I don't think it did. I think that it's just, especially like the beautiful shots, like the shot that comes to mind is that one whenever he's in shadow messing with his safe, and then the guy's talking. You know what I'm talking about?
I love that shot.
Yeah, that shot was so great.
That shadow shot, that was great.
Yeah.
And everything, lots of things looked well. So interesting for me. I've probably seen this movie 10 times, a lot, and I still love it every time I see it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that it holds together. It's a really good story, and I think at some point along the line I realized, in the movie Humphrey Bogart says it's December 1941. I wonder what time it is in New York. He says that to Sam.
I bet people are asleep in New York.
Yeah, and I think, wow, so that movie was made before Pearl Harbor, before the United States got into the war, and released
Wow.
before they even knew about Pearl Harbor. And I think, I don't know, I just think it's just such an inspiring message. When I was young, I get real wrapped up in the love story and really want Rick and Elsa to be together. I can remember the first time I saw it.
let's kind of break down the plot without giving any spoilers.
Oh, okay.
So they're in Casablanca in the middle of the war, which is World War II. So it's unoccupied France,
right?
But it's in Africa.
It's in Africa, so that's a French colony. Casablanca is a French colony.
Okay, and so people trying to escape from
Europe,
German-occupied countries,
Europe.
They're coming to Casablanca because that's where you can get a passport of sorts to make it over to America.
Right.
And so there's all these people who are trying to flee, Nazi rule, and they're held up in Casablanca because it's hard to get a
letter of transit.
They're
waiting on letters of transit.
They're waiting on letters of transit to take this one plane that goes to Lisbon. And so the story is about Rick Blaine, who's our main character, and he owns what would you call it?
A cabaret.
A cafe bar, he calls it a gin joint. And so he owns this place in Casablanca where all these people are coming and just waiting. There's just people stuck in limbo trying to flee from this oppression, and he's there and he has his joint, and then he gets a blast from the past from this woman that he has a history with, and then the whole story is kind of around his pulling of love and doing the right thing, and it's I think from the perspective of someone who doesn't watch a lot of classic movies and isn't really familiar with all that, I think it holds up really well. I think it's and that's my big thing with classic movies, is that I wonder how well they'll hold up. But we watched Citizen Kane, and I'm sure we'll do a review on that. But both of those movies hold up really well, and they're shot beautifully. I think that is like I think that might be a make or break for a classic movie for me, is the cinematography. Obviously, and even the acting though.
The acting was really good, and the writing was really good. We got into this argument in the middle of the movie because Kyle paused it to ask me a question, and the question was. Mm-hmm. Is Rick such a dick that he'll behave this badly?
Yeah, I thought he was being pretty petty,
And so he's got a really cool arc of development that you don't necessarily see coming, and it's very satisfying. And the reason I got upset is because it was coming up on my favorite scene.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, and I wanted it all, like the lead into the scene to play well. Yeah, I was kind of pissy about it.
Yeah. I'm sorry again, but I realized that Rick's pettiness is, it's triggered by love, and as after the movie, rightly you said, will you just wait to talk about it after the movie? After the movie, I was kind of able to reflect on it and realize that, in the throes of love, it's easy to behave maybe ways that you wouldn't think that you would behave. And it seems like Rick was a really kind of calculated, no nonsense kind of guy. And then just, I don't know. But anyway.
And also, I think that Rick is symbolic of the United States, of the American character. I think that he's a symbol of this American sort of self-reliant, maybe a little, I guess, isolationist before we got into World War II. This character, and
looking out for yourself.
Yeah, just looking out for number one. And in the course of the movie, his heart opens back up into this sort of global citizenship that he feels for these other people who are struggling. I just think it's a very inspiring movie without being too, like hit you over the head with a principle or an ethic. It's really, but it really like inspires me still, makes me feel.
Yeah, it wasn't really preachy. Yeah, it was good. It was just a good quality story. And the majority of the movie, which I found fascinating, takes place in this bar. Like almost the whole movie is in this bar, and it's literally just a character study of, basically these three big people who, Laszlo, what's his name?
Victor Laszlo.
Victor Laszlo. He's a great character.
He's a great character. He's like Rick's rival. That's another thing that's just fascinating about it, is that you love Victor Laszlo.
Almost more than Rick.
Almost
honestly.
More than Rick. Yeah.
It's hard, like. It's full of good characters, and it's full of things that I think are really relatable, and it's bigger than just a love story too. It's not.
Yeah, it's way bigger than a love story.
Yeah,
it really is.
I think when I heard Casablanca, I was like, okay, a romantic movie about people in love. But it's bigger than that. It covers a lot of really serious topics, and I think it was done really well.
Okay, before we start, I just want to say...
Before we do our rating.
Before we do our rating. Well, that's a flaw in our...
Accepted it.
So, I'm really messing up here. Hold on just a second.
Okay, we're having some technical difficulties.
We'll
edit this out if we can figure out the best way to edit.
We don't know how to edit. I just want to talk for a minute about my favorite scene.
Mm-hmm.
So my
It's not a spoiler, right?
Is it a spoiler? I don't know. Is it a spoiler?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Victor Laszlo gets the band. The Germans are singing a German drinking song.
Well, we have to set that up then. So, I mean, I don't know.
You think it's a spoiler?
I think it's probably a spoiler.
Did you like my favorite scene?
I did like it. Let's just say her favorite scene is the scene in the bar where everyone is singing. That's her favorite scene. So when you get to that scene, it is
beautiful.
It is a beautiful scene, and it happens right after the scene where I said, "Isn't this guy kind of petty? You support this petty guy?" So, but yeah, it was a good scene. Right. So our scoring system, we figured it out. Or did we decide 1 through 5 or 1 through 10?
I think I said 1 through 10.
1 through 10. So we're gonna do 1 through 10 Christie's and 1 through 10 Kyle's. And I'll let you go first. I think I already know what your score is going to be.
This is my favorite movie. Okay. I got to give it a 10 because it's my favorite movie. And so I got to give it gets 10 Christie's. How many Kyle's?
10 out of 10 Christie's. And I loved it. I think, the one hang up I had was just the officer who tried to do the shady thing with the girl. I wasn't a big fan of that. So I'll give it 9 out of 10 Kyle's. But I think as a movie, I think it's great. I think it's amazing. I understand the hype, and I'm embarrassed that I confused it with Gone with the Wind, which is another classic movie that I haven't seen. So
but not as good as Casablanca. Okay, and so that's our movie review of Casablanca, y'all.
Casablanca, watch it.
We both think you should watch it if you haven't seen it, and if you have seen it, see it again.
It's a watch it.
Okay. Bye, y'all.